Hey y'all, so I'm not sure if you noticed, but I have not coded for over 2 months. Even then, ambitious little me decided to do something very ambitious. Why is it ambitious? I'll tell you now. Number one, I have not practiced at all in those 2 months. So I'm literally just diving into this without any warm up whatsoever. Number two, I'm not even picking something that's like simple. This is like a more so complex thing that I have never tried before. And number three, I'm using a package that I've never, I mean, not never, but like I'm not familiar with it whatsoever at all. So, this is gonna be fun. Just a quick heads up though, I'm going to be discussing some things here that might be more technical without necessarily explaining it in this particular video. Now, every color has what's called a value in art, at least. Here we'll call it luminance, or as a simple word, brightness. For example, blue is darker when compared to yellow. You may notice that I'm using white text to draw on the blue shade, while I'm using black to draw on the yellow shade. That's because the white will blend too much into the yellow, and I guess it will be low contrast and vice versa. So I'll be using a string as a kind of list which has characters inside of it that in ascending order increase in their luminosities. And this is actually, if you didn't know, inspired by those spinning donut things. I find them really impressive and fascinating, mostly because I've never actually tried to make one, and I'm going to be making this image black and white, so I only have those luminosities to work with. Oh, why specifically are there 15 characters in this string? I'm glad you didn't ask. You see, in the RGB color wheel, or BGR color wheel as OpenCV uses, the highest value that either of the colors can get is 255. And 255 divided by 15 is 17. So in theory, this color and this color, both of which differing each other by 17 units, should be considered the same. In theory. Next on my agenda was trying to switch out whatever random placeholder thing that I selected from my gallery with something that I drew specifically for this project. My initial instincts led me to try to draw this in grayscale itself, but I quickly realized that it was not the type of image that I had imagined this program to be used for. So I spent around 5 minutes just drawing another version that would be colored, and you know what? I actually kind of like it. Mini app time. When I started this project, I thought I already had OpenCV installed on my computer because I know I had it before. Maybe like I gave up on it and then just deleted it for some reason. I'm not sure. Or maybe someone hacked my computer. Insert shocked gasps from the audience. Okay, whatever, rant over. I'm actually kind of worried though. Like, this image seems to be pretty low contrast. I wonder how the program holds up with that. Alright, I can't just like directly do this. I have to compress the image first into the suitable amount of pixels. And that number I've decided is 116 max for both the height and the width. One computer crash. And you're there. So what I'm thinking is that, for example, if the height is larger than the width, then we should check if the height is larger than 116. And if it is, then we should set the height to 116 and rescale the width accordingly, and vice versa, of course. Now the time sucker here was that I did that incorrectly a few times because of a very obvious mistake. Let me show you. I decided to do this in a separate file called testing.py. So let's go through the phases, shall we? What am I doing? I mean, I half understand. Oh, that works. No, not exactly. It's weird, but it works. Nuh-uh. It works, but it's weird. It works, but it's weird in the way that it's kind of overly fancy schmancy. Am I that tired that I couldn't even think of this before? Reactions exaggerated for effect. I actually did not have the slightest change in my facial expression this entire time. But I did finish this section. Yay! And the base editing and voiceover as well. Double yay! Okay, I know I did say that I might not explain a bunch of stuff in this video, but we're all a quote yapperino enjoyer here, right? I mean, I hope so. Anyway, the thing I was actually trying to do was combine two different conditions into one if statement. I had to check for one condition to be true and check if the other condition was false. And here's where the circus melody may commence. Because instead of doing literally just that, I was thinking of these two conditions as separate that needed their own if statements. Insert large crowd face forming. For some reason, I was actually like myself excited for what I would encounter next, for what I would say next, for what bugs will come next for me. Like, what am I enjoying editing and coding? Anyway, this project was actually much easier than I thought it would be, especially since I have not practiced coding in over 2 months. Okay, well, I'm grateful. Now, the thing I did today was like make this sort of function that categorizes the it took a few tries. Oh wow, this project is so easy. I just thought of such an intuitive solution. Pause for effect. I didn't actually think it would work first try. I've noticed that while I'm working on any sort of project related to anything, be it writing, coding, or drawing, I'm a lot of the time just changing things here and there and then seeing what looks right. And you know what? Most of the time it actually works. Just like how this program rather unprecedentedly decided to start working. When I first copy pasted the output to another file, I let out a wow. Not out loud, but at least in my mind. Anyway, I changed some things in the code after that to try and address some edge cases. And also, while I initially tried to format these outputs in Word, I quickly realized my head hurts. Where am I? Oh great, you're finally awake. You see, through the magic of editing, you've actually been transported to the future. Oh, so if I'm in the future and you're future me, then you should know whether or not we were successful in this project overall, right? Yeah, sure, definitely. Yeah, so were we? Now, you see, that's a pretty complicated question because we did actually achieve a pretty cool looking result and make a few people happy before. Wait, okay, wait. I will explain everything. Well, maybe not now because it's past midnight, but you get my point. If I wanted to draw, say, two perpendicular lines that join at the top left corner, then I would first insert a dot for the corner and then three dots for the horizontal line and again three dots for the vertical line. Now the issue with that is that the spacing is all over the place. And while this is great for readability, it is absolutely terrible for art. Now if I, as a potential human, were to try and do this, I would first insert in a space because a pipeline is unexpectedly thick. And then on the next line, I would add in a pipeline. Now with the pipeline already present to reference off of, I would try and eyeball how many underscores I should add for the horizontal line, which in our case would be 2. Now the issue with that is that it A has absolutely nothing to do with luminance and B requires patterns in the form of lines to be found. Yes, Mayday marker, you cannot just interrupt me mid-sentence. If an AI were to try and do this, it would need to be trained on a whole bunch of images. That would be, for example, images that don't have outlines and images that do have outlines. And it would also need to be instructed on what exactly to do when met with those images. We've punched holes into pizza boxes, cloned a sheep and named her Dolly, and sent both men and golf balls to the moon. So while I think it's possible for this to be coded traditionally, training an AI for this is just the first thing that came into my mind. It's just that I'm not really a big AI enthusiast, so here's how my code works. Okay, we have some import statements here with us now, and you might have noticed that I've also imported Pygame. I didn't choose this for any particular reason. I just thought that since I already have an idea that uses a package I've already installed, I should just stick with that. Now the image that is going to be processed is loaded. And here I present to you a really obscure way of checking if the file exists. You see, a value error occurs if the inbuilt all or any function is used on a NumPy array. Therefore, like any completely sane person would, I raised an error if a value error didn't occur. Due to changes that occur in different fonts, we next have a string used as a list of increasing approximate luminosities. And again, an arbitrarily chosen number that decides the maximum width or height of a picture. Because next, we're resizing said picture. This condition resizes the picture if it is square and too large. This condition does so if the image is too large vertically. And the one after that does so if the image is too large horizontally. This function, as mentioned before, this function assigns a character according to a given pixel's luminescence score. This next part of the code iterates through all the pixels and assigns each one of them a character. Then I have some stuff here that would be used for testing. It's not useful now. Are you getting bored? I'm not sure about you, but I'm getting bored. Basically, what the rest of the code does is draw each character onto a Pygame surface object in such a way that every character takes up the same amount of space both height-wise and length-wise. This space is determined by the dimensions of the usual largest character in a font. Dimensions that are greatly affected by the font size, which is another arbitrarily chosen value. I posted on a few online forums that I'm open to suggestions regarding what I should throw at my code. And that's where I got that really random Kirby meme thing, but I'm not going to show any more because I'd rather either credit the original assembler or whatever, or use my own assets. And as you may know, memes are more or less difficult to find or remember the origins of. While I was doing so, I actually got an idea for a potential part 2 to this video. You see, some people requested a video to text art video. Will I go on to do this in the future? Maybe. Stay tuned to see that, I guess. Wow, what a segue to a call to action. I've never done that before. You can probably tell I'm excited by my rather shaky voice. I realize I record most of these segments way past midnight, including this one. Whatever it is, thank you so much for watching until the end. I hope you get done with today what you hope you get done with today.